Okay. Injuries as far as today, Devontae will not participate, making good progress, just did the walkthrough, so still feel the same as what I kind of communicated to you guys on Monday. Kobe Turner's back's bother him a little bit, so we'll be smart with him. He won't participate. Jordan Whittington will be limited with his back, and then Darius Williams will be full with his shoulder. You guys go ahead.
Do you expect Devontae to play?
I do, yeah. He's that's what he tells me. He's feeling good, and so I trust the man. He'll be ready.
Sean, I saw a stat that said against the Blitz, Matthew has like 20 touchdowns, no interceptions this season. How much of that success is based on the preparation and figuring out, okay, where those blitzes might be coming from, where the answers might be, and then how much of it is just him playing and reacting and kind of...
I think it's a combination of both. He puts a lot of work in. He's used all of his experience that he's accumulated where, he's got an unbelievable Rolodex in his mind, and seeing how 11 bodies are distributed and then understanding what are the quick element answers, what are some of the things that he wants to be able to do. I'm sure a lot of those are probably coming in the tight red area where, naturally you're saying people are blitzing, and it's a little bit different structures with a lot of the touchdowns he's thrown inside the 5. But he's been outstanding. He's in total command, and we're going to need that because this is a great challenge this week. But I think it's a combination of his preparation, how smart he is, his experience, and, like I've kind of said over and over, we're certainly very grateful that he's leading the way for us.
Sean, what have you seen from Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the same things that made him great last year in Minnesota. I think he's in a really good system. I think he does an excellent job of, recognizing whatever the coverages are and being able to get the ball where it should be. You can see he does a great job of playing in time, in rhythm. He can activate all parts of the field, and then, some really cool stuff happens when he goes off schedule. He's got the athleticism to be able to buy time, keep his eyes down the field. You can see there's a rapport with his skill players that they're able to work off of him. But I'm seeing a guy that's playing with a lot of confidence that's been earned, and it's a continuation of a lot of the stuff that got him the deserved recognition last year with what he did with Kevin and those guys, and then you look at what Kubiak's done and the way that he's playing and the ownership he has of the things that they're asking of him. It's impressive. I've got a lot of respect for Sam.
The Seahawks run stunts at one of the highest rates of any team in the league right now. Blitz at one of the lowest rates. What is it about that front four and the scheme that allows the stunts to be as effective?
Yeah, I think they know how to rush off of one another. A lot of it are naturals, and then they have some of those that are stunts that are called. But I think, when I look at, some of these defenses that you have a ton of respect for, you always hear people throw out rush 4 as one, being able to understand what does that look like, what are they really trying to get done, how they can recognize to activate some different things on their own. But, Mike McDonald, Adam Dirday, they do such a great job. But that's been a consistent theme that I've seen from defenses that Mike's had. I felt that way a few years ago when you watch Baltimore. You see them getting more and more comfortable, and ultimately the players bring it to life. They got great guys across the front, both inside and outside. They got a rotation of guys that you're seeing, and then I think they're earning the right to be in a lot of favorable situations because of how efficient they are on some early downs where, you look at it and they're seeing a lot of, third down and longs, and they're forcing people into situations where they can kind of dictate the terms, whether they want to give you pressure looks and come, bless you, or whether they want to end up being able to rush 4 and play loaded zone behind it. But if you can get home the way that they do and the way that they're able to play off one another, it's impressive. You see why they're getting the, well-deserved and well-earned, credit, for what a great defense they are.
What has Terrance Ferguson shown you in his development this year?
I think a guy that's just been consistent every single day. We talked a lot about it during training camp. I thought he had a really good offseason. I thought he had a really good early parts of the training camp. Then he had the groin that put him out for an extended period of time. And that tight end position is so difficult, so many different things that we're asking of those guys. And, you're starting to see a little bit more of that with some of the things that we've done as of late. But I'm seeing a guy that's got incredible upside. He's got great leaders in the room to be able to learn from, whether that's Scooter Huff, Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, being as experienced as he is. But, we want complete players in that room, and he is a dynamic player. I think one of my favorite parts of the other day, he's learning, he's doing a great job competing without the ball. But I think when you look at the confidence that Matthew has in him, we just miss him on it would have been a great play, but one that he's capable of. And then a couple plays later, come right back to him, ends up making an explosive play. And so he's only getting better, and I think the future's really bright for him. We love Terrance.
Where did that show up early in the season when he wasn't getting game reps?
on the look team. I mean, you look at it, there's a lot of stuff, and I kind of mentioned this the other day when I was talking to JB Long. I mean, you see some of the things that he was able to do, and you're watching and you're saying, man, maybe we should get those plays in, because he's doing an excellent job of bringing some of that stuff to life against, a great defense that we have and a lot of really talented guys on the back end. And I think, he's just continued to work. He's stayed humble. He's waited for his opportunity, and he's going to continue to, earn more as we go. But it's a really fun group to work with, and I'm excited about his future.
Did you sign another tight end because you
bringing 5 out now? We're going in 05 personnel
because you need them. You need someone for the look team.
That's
because
right.
The other 4 guys are playing.
That's exactly right. And then there's a part of it too, Gary, has to do with some of the special teams yards that we accumulate. Reggie and Trent and those guys, they do such a great job of being able to track, all right, hey, when you look at, and I look at it as, hey, our team is, our football team plus the practice squad guys, that's our team. And what are the workloads? Where are some different ways that we can supplement maybe some guys that are getting a little bit higher in terms of their volume? And that was a position because of some of the things that you're asking about, but also special teams, some of those mid-level body types that can still be able to cover in space and do a lot of different things. But, yes, that was a part of it to bring Muse in.
We've seen Byron obviously rack up the sacks all season long, but when he makes a 4th down stop like he did on Sunday, I guess what does it just say about the way he's kind of rounded out his game at this point?
It was awesome. I mean, that was a great play really by our front as a whole. I mean, you look at Verse getting the backside penetration, Puna Ford, Kobe, you see the way that Fisk was at the point of attack, and Byron was awesome. They're running kind of a little wide zone play towards towards our sideline to be able to get some of that knockback and then to be able to make that play. Byron's been outstanding, and he's been productive. Everybody talks about the sacks, but he's been productive in both phases. He does so much for us. Joe Caniglio does a great job with that group as a whole, but that play was instrumental. You're up 21-0. They got a chance to be able to cut it to a 2-possession game, and what that does just for the energy and the momentum of the sideline. That was a big-time play. It was a huge play on the 3rd and 3 before that where, Verse at the point of attack, he ends up making a play to be able to prevent them from converting right there on a, kind of a tight zone run that typically would convert. So a lot of cool things in that sequence of plays from our defense right there.
Can you speak to the mindset of the team right now, right? Because Emmanuel Forbes comes up big with a second back-to-back interception. You were talking about Terrance Ferguson, the missed catch. You throwed him again.
Sure.
What is the mindset of the locker room?
Yeah, I think what we've got is we got a bunch of great guys that have similar values and principles, Aaron, but they all have different personalities. But I think what our coaches have done a good job of, and ultimately it's about the players, is everybody's got real value. When you've got 48 guys up on game day, hey, how can we do a great job of recognizing where's the authentic value that they can bring to the table? I talked about this a little bit in the post game the other day, but we got a fun group. I think they enjoy coming into work. We know that there's an urgency that's required. It's going to be hard work, but it's going to be worth it. And there's nothing more enjoyable than watching, good ball that these guys bring to life and celebrating each other's successes, whether it's Terrance Ferguson, whether, you guys see Higbee mic'd up or Emmanuel Forbes. Our group, they enjoy playing together, and I think that says a lot about us, and, I love this team.
Sean, when I asked Rob about him being honest with you about just where he was at in terms of return to performance with his ankle rehab, he said as challenging as that was, felt like he was able to do it because of the environment you created and also the trust and knowing that you've had his back and gone through stuff with him through thick and thin. I guess when you hear that from a player, one, what does that mean to you? And two, just what difference has he made being back in the lineup?
It's everything. I mean, Rob obviously means a lot to me, first and foremost as a person. He was here before I got here in 17. We're in year 9 together, and everything that he represents, it's why he's basically voted unanimously as a captain, and watching him organically just become the leader that he is with how he influences, how he affects positive change, how he supports guys. And one of the things I think says as much about Rob is the way he was supporting Warren McClendon when he's out. And Rob is such a tough competitor. You sometimes have to protect these Warriors from themselves. But him being back out there, and I think really, he's earned the right where you're able to talk to him. He's able to give you feedback, and you're weighing everything to be able to make collaborative decisions. And, we're glad to be able to have him back. He does a great job. He's a great competitor. And I think he really cherishes and enjoys being out there and being able to go compete with his teammates while continuing to elevate his room and our team as a whole.
Playing these guys for the first time this year, what benefit, if there's a benefit, that you guys played New Orleans last year in Clint, played Sam a couple times?
Yeah. I think there's some benefits. Every single year is a new year. There are some similarities, but I think, to Clint, what he's done a great job of is he's evolved and he's adjusted to the personnel that he has in Seattle. There were some things that he accentuated in New Orleans. And you just see a lot of these, coordinators or coaches, there's foundational philosophies that are pretty much consistent around the league, but then what do you lean into? How do you really, elevate certain guys? What do you do that allows Sam to be able to play the way that he is? How does he cater to their offensive line or their backs and tight ends and skill players? And so it helps a little bit, but every single game, every week, it's a new challenge, and you use it without trying to overdo it, if you will.
Yeah.
Nate Landman has had success punching out the ball.
Yeah.
When you're talking to your offensive players, how do you protect against that?
What would you say?
I mean, you can hold on tight, but is there anything specific?
You better get your offhand cover and not leave that leather susceptible to exposure for Landman. He's going to get it out. And so, what I think is cool is you look at the last two that he ended up having in consecutive weeks, whether it's New Orleans or against San Francisco, both of those, Cam Curl's got a player stood up. The one against Kamara was a little bit different, but, Landman sees that opening and takes it. And then on a bang-bang type of play where we're bringing a pressure, Cam Curl does a great job coming from the post to be able to kind of get Jennings stood up. And, when you're in those positions, you're trying to be able to get as many yards as possible. And sometimes the ball's going to be susceptible. And if it is, it's really hard and difficult. I think defensive players in this league do such a great job of attacking at it. It's a ball mindset that people have. And when you're in traffic areas, if you don't, really get that offhand cover, you're always going to run the risk of putting it on the ground. And Landman's done an excellent job for us. And I think he's helped create just more awareness overall, whether that's for our offensive guys like you're asking or even our defensive players are getting better attempts at it. And it's a big deal because, other than points, that's one of those most important stats. I don't like stats, but that's one that I do like. All right? Thanks, guys.
So, Matthew.
What do you think it'll be like to see Cooper across the field this week?
I'm looking forward to seeing him. I haven't seen him in a while. Some a little bit probably before the season started in the summer, but looking forward to it. I'm glad he's feeling good and ready to rock and roll. But he's a lifelong friend of mine. Obviously, we'll be competing against him, this weekend. But be good to see him.
What do you see from the Seahawks defensive front on film?
Really good football players across the board on their defense. I mean, they're playing lights-out defense when you look at it. They're doing great against the run, affecting the passer, obviously, scoring on defense, doing all the things you want. So really big, physical, powerful front. And really just, from the front all the way to the back end, I think they're playing at a really high level.
What's it like preparing for a defense that plays so much nickel and drops into 7-8 coverage at such a high rate?
I think it's a different challenge every single week for us. We go out there, we try to put a plan together to go out there and have success, and then ultimately we call the plays and we go out there and run them. And it's on us as players to bring those plays to life, execute them. If there's issues, try to fix them out there, at the line of scrimmage, and make sure we're getting in and out of good plays and go out there and play, play good, sound football. That's kind of been the recipe for us. No matter what's getting, put out there on the defensive side of the ball, we have, thoughts on what we want to try to do and go out there and execute it.
Matthew, when you're kind of breaking NFL history or making NFL history with the streak you're on right now, do you pay any attention to that? Do you know that's going on?
No, I mean, I obviously didn't know what was going on until people told me about it kind of afterwards. But no, in the middle of it, just trying to play good ball. Obviously the touchdowns have racked up the last, few weeks, but I felt like I've been playing pretty good football for a while. And sometimes I've had years where you feel like you play good football and you look up at the end of the year and the stats may not, tell the whole story of how you feel like you played, and that goes kind of both ways, right? There's times where I'm like, man, I didn't feel like I played that great, and you look up and it was like, okay, it was all right. But so I don't pay too much attention to those stats, just doing everything I can to try to get us in the end zone, and luckily that's been happening at a pretty good clip the last couple of days.
When you do find out that you're making history, what's your reaction to it?
To be honest with you, I'm just kind of moving on to the next week. The thing about the NFL doesn't wait around. It doesn't wait around, doesn't feel good for you, doesn't feel sorry for you. You just got to go out there and play the next week. And so I've learned that throughout my career on both ends of it, and just got to show up, do everything you can to prepare and go play confident football on Sunday.
As you guys are rotating in all the tight ends, are you in the huddle conscious of who's in, who's out, or is it just how many are in?
Sure
there?
hope so. No, I'm pretty dialed in on that kind of stuff, and that's something that comes through here as well as the guys that are running on. You know, we do a great job in this organization of communicating. That starts with Sean and echoes down through me, hopefully to those guys, and even those guys running on. You know, whether it's 11, 12, 13, whatever it is, those guys do a heck of a job communicating, and then we kind of know where we're going from there.
What stands out to you about both the play style and personality of that tight end room? Personalities.
Yeah, I mean, personalities are all a little bit different, but they all bring their own edge to the game. They're really a conscientious group, man. They want to get it right every single time, and that's awesome for our team. Athletic, fun guys to be around. All of them bring great energy to the huddle and to the field. Their play style is relentless. I think of so many plays in games where guys are just fighting that extra inch, and those guys epitomize that, so we're lucky to have them.
Matthew, I'm curious to get your perspective on this. So many people talking about your streak and MVP consideration. I think it was Tom Brady did your guys' game on Sunday, saying that you have answers for everything that the defense is throwing you. But I heard other former quarterbacks, analysts say the defenses have no answers for what you're doing. Kind of what's your perspective on that? You feel like you're a step ahead, or do you think you're just reacting kind of perfectly with the answers from what you're seeing?
I feel like I try to react. I read and react. Sometimes that happens before the ball is snapped, and sometimes that happens after the snap. Certain times you get a really good beat on exactly what's about to happen from a defensive standpoint, and other times you may be narrowing it down between two or three things in your head, and then you get the snap, and you just feel the defense move into where you thought, or maybe it's a little bit different than you thought. But being able to know what to do and where to go with the football in those instances is key and critical for my position. I'm trying to do that as best I can. Is it perfect? No, but I'm trying to do it, as often as I possibly can.
You've had a lot of success against the Blitz this year, getting ball out really quickly too. So when you diagnose that, how does that affect your processing on any given play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to throw it where they're not, That's the big thing. I think some of that stuff is other guys on our team too. I mean, you look at the last week, Puka scores on the wide receiver screen versus a nickel pressure. Wasn't some great read I made, it was a great call by Sean, and felt like we were in a great play and left it on and let it roll. And so, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's, being able to diagnose it and get the protection squared up and then be able to, put the ball down the field. And other times it's guys catching and running. So I think the more different answers that we can provide to all the different looks that we're getting, the harder we are to defend, right? It may be a pressure and we throw a screen into it. The next play it might be a pressure and we dial up the protection and throw it over your head. We might let it ride and check it down. I mean, we're trying to do, to make ourselves as difficult to defend by presenting as many possible options for a defense as we can.
In a defense that stunts as much as Seattle does, what is the process with Coleman of trying to get those pre-snap IDs for their protection?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's communicating, all the time. I feel like that's what he, really, really excels at. He's a great communicator up front. He's going to have his thoughts and ideas on what he feels is about to happen. We trust him, a ton, and as far as what he's seeing from those guys in the front four. So just trust him to go out there, get everybody on the same page, go out there and play physical and fast.
On the touchdown pass to Davis Allen, you
Yeah.
were rolling right.
Mm-hmm.
Were you kind of like trying to deke, like you were just going to throw the ball away and then put it up there for him, or what was happening there?
I mean, I just knew I was getting close to the sideline. I'm trying to buy a little bit of time, maybe. I thought I was probably going to have to throw it away, and I felt Lenore kind of slough off. And Davis really did a great job of just kind of getting lost in the background because I had him doubled there for the majority of the play. Not schematically, just happened to have two guys over there. And he did a nice job of kind of sliding into the back and felt like there was a little bit of space back there. He's a big target and was able to, last second, get him a ball. So,
Just what's it mean to you to have Rob back out there as well as Warren was playing when he was?
Yeah, I thought both those guys done a great job. Obviously, Rob has a ton of experience. He's played in this offense for a long time. He's played at a high level for a long time, and I think his demeanor, his communication, his steadiness, adds to our execution up front. I also think when Warren was in there, man, was he playing great too. So it's a good feeling when you got two guys at the same spot you trust. Obviously, Rob just has a ton of experience, and we lean on that.
Sorry, just one more. two 7-2 teams in a division matchup, how would you just describe the importance of this game Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game because it's the next one for us, obviously, in the division. Sometimes people look at them like they count for two, and I understand that. But it's just another opportunity, I think, for us to try to go get better. I think that's what we've been trying to do every single game this season. Certain weeks I feel like we've been able to accomplish that. I feel like we've played physical, we've played tough, smart football, and sometimes you don't come away with the win. But, for the most part this year we've been moving in the right direction. Look forward to doing that, hopefully having a chance to do that this Sunday. Thanks.